There's a quiet kind of magic in the early hours of the day, a sacred stillness before the world begins to spin again. It's not just about the time on the clock, it's about the intention we set when the sun has yet to rise. Imagine this. Before the emails flood in, before the kids need breakfast, before the news scrolls endlessly across your screen, there is a moment that belongs only to you. What if that moment could change everything? The truth is, how we begin our day shapes how we live our lives. The person you become doesn't form in grand declarations. It's formed in the smallest habits, repeated in silence, long before anyone is watching. When you claim your morning, you claim your life. Richard Waitley once said, "Lose an hour in the morning, and you will spend all day looking for it." So today, let's talk about taking that hour back. Let's talk about winning the morning so you can win your day, your week, your purpose. Let's talk about waking up, not just from sleep, but to your potential. The power of the first hour. The first hour of your day is not just the beginning of a schedule, it is the foundation of your mindset. It is where you lay the bricks of discipline, clarity, purpose, and strength that will carry you through whatever challenges life throws your way. And yet, so many people spend that first hour reacting. They wake up late, they scroll through their phones, they rush through routines, and they wonder why the rest of the day feels like survival instead of progress. The most successful people, whether CEOs, athletes, artists, or ordinary individuals with extraordinary resilience, treat the first hour of their day as sacred. They don't always wake up feeling motivated, but they show up anyway. Because showing up for yourself before the world asks anything of you is the first sign of self-respect. Let's start with a simple truth. How you spend your morning is how you build your life. Imagine this scenario. You wake up at 6:30 a.m. The alarm is buzzing. You hit snooze. 5 minutes later, it buzzes again. You snooze again. By the time you get up, your mind is foggy. You're already late. You skip breakfast. You scroll through the chaos of the news or social media. You're rushing out the door, and the rest of the day feels like you're just trying to catch up. Now imagine a different morning. You wake up at 5:30 a.m. You breathe, you stretch, you drink a glass of water, you write in a journal, you pray or meditate for 5 minutes. You review your goals for the day. You get a quick workout or walk. The sun begins to rise. Your body feels strong, your mind is centered, your soul is quiet and ready. The difference between these two lives isn't in luck or personality. It's in the first 60 minutes. That's the power of the first hour. One of the most respected figures in productivity, Robin Sharma, calls this the victory hour, a concept he introduced in his best-selling book, The 5 a.m. Club. According to Sharma, the first hour of your day should include movement, reflection, and growth. Just 20 minutes of physical activity, 20 minutes of journaling or prayer, and 20 minutes of learning can rewire your brain for success and fulfillment. And this isn't just motivational theory, it's backed by science. Studies from the American Psychological Association show that people who wake up early are generally more optimistic, proactive, and in better control of their schedules. They tend to make better health decisions, experience less stress, and even sleep better at night. The prefrontal cortex, your decision-making center, is most active and free from distraction in the early morning. This is the golden window for creative thinking, deep reflection, and strategic planning. Think of it like sharpening your axe before chopping wood. Abraham Lincoln once said, "Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I will spend the first 4 sharpening the axe." The morning is where you sharpen your inner tools, so when the demands of the day come knocking, you're ready. And don't be fooled into thinking you need to become a superhero overnight. You don't have to wake up at 4 a.m. and run marathons. It's not about extremism. It's about consistency. Even waking up 30 minutes earlier than usual with a plan can change your life. Take Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple. He wakes up around 3:45 a.m., not to answer calls or do press interviews, but to think, to move, to gain clarity. He spends the earliest part of the day reading user comments, exercising, and preparing mentally for his leadership role. Or consider Michelle Obama, who used her early mornings to exercise and reflect, even while living one of the busiest lives on earth. These examples are not shared to intimidate you. They're meant to show you that powerful mornings are not reserved for the elite. They're available to all of us if we're willing to trade comfort for commitment. Now let's shift from the famous to the familiar. Think of a single parent who works 2 jobs, but still wakes up 30 minutes earlier to write in a gratitude journal and listen to a podcast on their bus ride to work. Think of the student who battles depression but chooses to get up early, take a shower, and make their bed, one act of victory at a time. These are the quiet heroes of morning discipline. No headlines, no spotlight, just inner strength. Because the truth is, every morning you wake up is a second chance, a reset, a blank canvas. And yet, the resistance is real, the bed is warm, the alarm is cold. Your body says, stay, while your dreams whisper, go. This is the moment that defines you, not when things are easy, but when they're hard. Mel Robbins, author of The 5-Second Rule, offers a practical tool for this exact moment. When your alarm goes off, count backward from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and launch yourself out of bed before your brain talks you out of it. This simple act bypasses hesitation and builds the habit of action over delay. Because ultimately, it's not about what time you wake up, it's about who you become when you decide to rise with purpose. When I interviewed a nurse from Germany who worked night shifts during the pandemic, she shared something that stayed with me. I started lighting a candle when I came home at 6 a.m. before sleeping. Even though it was morning, it became my sacred hour. I'd sit for 10 minutes in silence, thank God I made it through the night, and breathe. That small ritual kept me sane. So what's your version of that candle? What small act can remind you that you're still in charge of your time, your choices, your story? Let's get even more practical. Here are 3 simple ways to reclaim your first hour starting tomorrow. Prepare the night before. Lay out your clothes. Write your goals. Put your phone across the room. The best morning starts with an intentional evening. Create a no-scroll zone. Resist the urge to check social media or news for the first hour. Instead, feed your soul before feeding your mind with noise. Stack small wins. Make your bed. Drink water. Write 1 sentence of gratitude. Do 5 push-ups. These tiny wins trigger a cascade of motivation. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, reminds us that you do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems, and your morning is your most powerful system. So here's the truth. If you're waiting for the right mood to change your mornings, you'll be waiting forever. But if you start changing your mornings, your mood, and eventually your life will follow. You don't need a new year to start fresh. You need a new morning, and you have one waiting for you tomorrow. What if tomorrow you didn't just wake up, but you rose?
Discipline over mood, choosing consistency over comfort. There will always be days when you don't feel like showing up. Days when the alarm feels cruel, when your body is tired, when your thoughts are scattered, and the weight of life feels too heavy to move against. And in those moments, discipline is the difference between living with intention and letting life slip through your fingers. Motivation may inspire, but discipline sustains. It is not flashy. It is not loud, but it is faithful. And it builds you when you feel empty. And let's be honest, no one always feels like waking up early. No one always feels excited to tackle responsibilities or pursue goals. But greatness is not built by moods. It's built by movements. Small, repeated, intentional movements in the right direction, even when everything inside you is screaming to stay in bed. You won't always feel brave, focused, or powerful, but you can always be disciplined. The runner who trains in the rain doesn't do it because the conditions are ideal. They do it because they've committed to the goal. The student who wakes up before dawn to study isn't driven by excitement. They're driven by a vision of what their future could be. The father who works a night shift, then wakes up to spend time with his child, isn't fueled by rest. He's fueled by love. And discipline, rooted in purpose, will take you further than fleeting emotion ever could. Angela Duckworth, in her groundbreaking book Grit, puts it plainly: enthusiasm is common, endurance is rare. It's easy to start, but continuing, especially when it's inconvenient, is what sets you apart. Let's reflect on a story you might not have heard. Wilma Rudolph. Born prematurely in 1940 in Tennessee, Wilma weighed just 4.5 pounds. As a child, she contracted polio and was told she would never walk without braces. But her mother believed otherwise. So did Wilma. Through years of painful physical therapy, discipline, and relentless repetition, she not only walked, she ran. And in the 1960 Rome Olympics, Wilma Rudolph became the first American woman who won 3 gold medals in track and field. She didn't wake up every day feeling like a champion. She trained like one anyway. That's what discipline is. It's choosing the future over the present feeling. It's saying, I will, when everything says I can't. It's placing consistency above convenience. It might help to understand discipline not as a punishment, but as an act of self-compassion. When you say no to the snooze button, to distractions, to old habits, you're saying yes to who you're becoming. Discipline is the daily vote you cast for your highest self. And every day, you have the opportunity to vote again. The brain loves patterns. It craves rhythm. And the more consistent your morning discipline becomes, the less effort it takes over time. This is the neuroscience of habit formation. Your brain's basal ganglia stores repeated routines so that actions become automatic. But the prefrontal cortex, the seat of your willpower, is most awake in the morning. This means you have a brief window to make powerful, focused choices before decision fatigue sets in later in the day. Use it wisely. Take, for example, Thomas Edison. He was known for working long hours and embracing a life of structured experimentation. What most people don't know is that Edison built strict morning routines into his life. He believed that starting each day with discipline and focus would allow creativity to flourish. As he once said, genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. That perspiration? It begins with discipline. And what about people like Bethany Hamilton? She lost her arm in a shark attack at just 13 years old while surfing. Many would have given up, but not Bethany. She returned to the water a month later and went on to become a professional surfer. Her comeback wasn't driven by a burst of motivation. It was built on daily habits, consistent effort, and a mindset that refused to surrender. Discipline made that return possible. So how do you build that kind of inner strength in your own life? You start small. You start where you are. You stop waiting for the right feeling. And you start building the right rhythm. Here are 3 guiding principles to help you strengthen discipline in your mornings. Lower the entry point, raise the commitment. Don't try to do an hour of cardio if you've never exercised before. Start with 5 minutes. The win isn't in the length, it's in the follow-through. The brain rewards completed cycles. Make it easier to begin and harder to break. Stack your habits. Attach your new discipline to an existing habit. For example, after brushing your teeth, write your 3 goals for the day. After pouring your coffee, read a page of a book. These linkages turn new behaviors into second nature. Visualize the future self. Each morning, take 10 seconds to picture the person you're becoming. Not the one reacting to chaos, but the one living with purpose. Ask, what would my future self thank me for doing right now? Discipline is not about punishing the self. It's about parenting the self. The most loving thing you can do each morning is to guide yourself back to your intentions, back to your clarity, back to your chosen path. And like any good parent, you do it even when the child inside you is whining. You will have mornings where you want to quit, when the goal feels too far, when the effort feels unrewarded, when you wonder if any of this matters. But let me assure you, your discipline today is the scaffolding for your future victories. Every repetition strengthens the muscle. Every decision to rise early when you could sleep in is a declaration that your purpose matters. Let's talk about one more powerful example. Viktor Frankl, the Holocaust survivor and author of Man's Search for Meaning. While imprisoned in concentration camps, stripped of his family, health, and dignity, Frankl made a daily decision to control what he could, his inner world. He wrote, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. That space, that's discipline." You may not be facing a tragedy like Frankl, but you are facing choices that define your character. Will you react or respond? Will you retreat or rise? Moods come and go. They're like the weather, unreliable, unpredictable, and often influenced by forces outside your control. But discipline is like the roots of a tree. It anchors you when the wind blows. It nourishes you even in drought. And here's the surprising thing. Discipline doesn't restrict your freedom. It creates it. The person who builds a consistent morning routine is free from chaos. The one who shows up for their goals is free from regret. The one who wakes up early to train is free from mediocrity. Discipline clears the path to your best life. So what's holding you back? Fear? Fatigue? Failure in the past? Then let today be the reset. Let this morning be the one where you choose differently. Not because it's easy, not because you feel like it, but because you've decided to become someone who shows up regardless. Let me remind you of another voice. Brené Brown, author and researcher on vulnerability and courage. She said, "Courage is showing up and letting ourselves be seen." That includes showing up in the quiet moments, before the applause, before the result, before the validation. Showing up in your own life. Your early morning discipline won't always make headlines, but it will make character. It will make courage. It will make clarity. And maybe that's what this world needs more of. Not perfect people, but consistent ones. People who choose their future over their fear. People who choose action over excuse. People who rise before the sun, not to prove something, but to become something. Each morning, you stand at the edge of a decision. The bed or the goal. The comfort or the calling. The same or the growth. And the beauty is, you get to choose. Not once in a lifetime, but every single day. So tomorrow morning, when your alarm goes off and your body says no, but your dream whispers yes, listen to the whisper. Stand up. Put your feet on the ground. And remember that you are one decision away from a better life. One small act of discipline away from a ripple of progress. Because discipline over mood is not a one-time choice, it's a lifestyle. And that lifestyle builds legacies.
Small rituals, big shifts. Waking with intention shifts your mindset toward purpose and transforms ordinary days into sacred ones. Waking with intention opens the heart to gratitude and builds your foundation for growth. Simple habits bring awareness back to the present and transform ordinary days into sacred ones. A small ritual done daily brings awareness back to the present, regardless of yesterday's noise. The act of journaling anchors your day in clarity and transforms ordinary days into sacred ones. Reading a single page anchors your day in clarity, anchoring your soul in something stable. The act of journaling anchors your day in clarity and transforms ordinary days into sacred ones. Lighting a candle resets your emotional tone and strengthens your identity over time. Waking with intention signals to your brain that you matter, even in a season of overwhelm. Simple habits build a reservoir of peace before the demands of the world arrive. A small ritual done daily turns chaos into calm, giving space for your spirit to breathe. Every morning routine reminds you that progress is quiet before the demands of the world arrive. Waking with intention reminds you that progress is quiet, helping you live with intention and grace. Simple habits create momentum that compounds regardless of yesterday's noise. The act of journaling resets your emotional tone, giving space for your spirit to breathe. Drinking warm lemon water opens the heart to gratitude, giving space for your spirit to breathe. Stretching your body gently opens the heart to gratitude, helping you live with intention and grace. A small ritual done daily brings awareness back to the present, giving space for your spirit to breathe. Reading a single page anchors your day in clarity and strengthens your identity over time. Lighting a candle creates momentum that compounds even in a season of overwhelm. One mindful breath reminds you that progress is quiet and strengthens your identity over time. Every morning routine builds a reservoir of peace, regardless of yesterday's noise. One mindful breath creates momentum that compounds even in a season of overwhelm. A small ritual done daily signals to your brain that you matter even in a season of overwhelm. Lighting a candle builds a reservoir of peace and transforms ordinary days into sacred ones. Reading a single page resets your emotional tone before the demands of the world arrive. The act of journaling builds a reservoir of peace, even in a season of overwhelm. Drinking warm lemon water reminds you that progress is quiet, helping you live with intention and grace. One mindful breath reminds you that progress is quiet regardless of yesterday's noise. One mindful breath creates momentum that compounds and builds your foundation for growth. Simple habits shift your mindset toward purpose and strengthens your identity over time. A small ritual done daily signals to your brain that you matter, regardless of yesterday's noise. Stretching your body gently opens the heart to gratitude, anchoring your soul in something stable. Reading a single page opens the heart to gratitude, helping you live with intention and grace. One mindful breath resets your emotional tone, regardless of yesterday's noise. Every morning routine builds a reservoir of peace, anchoring your soul in something stable. Drinking warm lemon water shifts your mindset toward purpose before the demands of the world arrive. Stretching your body gently resets your emotional tone regardless of yesterday's noise. Reading a single page creates momentum that compounds, helping you live with intention and grace. Lighting a candle resets your emotional tone regardless of yesterday's noise. Waking with intention builds a reservoir of peace, anchoring your soul in something stable. Simple habits open the heart to gratitude, helping you live with intention and grace. Lighting a candle shifts your mindset toward purpose, regardless of yesterday's noise. Reading a single page signals to your brain that you matter and transforms ordinary days into sacred ones. Drinking warm lemon water turns chaos into calm and strengthens your identity over time. The act of journaling resets your emotional tone, anchoring your soul in something stable. One mindful breath anchors your day in clarity, regardless of yesterday's noise. Every morning, routine opens the heart to gratitude, and builds your foundation for growth. Lighting a candle shifts your mindset toward purpose, anchoring your soul in something stable. Waking with intention reminds you that progress is quiet, giving space for your spirit to breathe. Stretching your body gently builds a reservoir of peace before the demands of the world arrive. Drinking warm lemon water resets your emotional tone and strengthens your identity over time. Reading a single page opens the heart to gratitude, anchoring your soul in something stable. A small ritual done daily resets your emotional tone, anchoring your soul in something stable. Simple habit signals to your brain that you matter, giving space for your spirit to breathe. The act of journaling builds a reservoir of peace, anchoring your soul in something stable. One mindful breath anchors your day in clarity, anchoring your soul in something stable. Lighting a candle opens the heart to gratitude, giving space for your spirit to breathe. Waking with intention resets your emotional tone, giving space for your spirit to breathe. Simple habits signals to your brain that you matter, anchoring your soul in something stable. Every morning routine creates momentum that compounds, helping you live with intention and grace. Drinking warm lemon water builds a reservoir of peace, anchoring your soul in something stable. A small ritual done daily builds a reservoir of peace before the demands of the world arrive. One mindful breath brings awareness back to the present, anchoring your soul in something stable. Stretching your body gently turns chaos into calm, anchoring your soul in something stable. The act of journaling brings awareness back to the present and transforms ordinary days into sacred ones. One mindful breath reminds you that progress is quiet, anchoring your soul in something stable. Reading a single page turns chaos into calm, anchoring your soul in something stable. Lighting a candle opens the heart to gratitude and strengthens your identity over time. Every morning routine resets your emotional tone and builds your foundation for growth. One mindful breath resets your emotional tone before the demands of the world arrive. Waking with intention signals to your brain that you matter and builds your foundation for growth.
You versus you. Morning is your mirror. The most honest moment of your day is not when you speak to others. It is not when you're on a stage or a Zoom call. It's not even when you're scrolling your feed pretending you don't care. The most honest moment is that quiet breath you take just after you open your eyes and realize you're alone with yourself. The morning is your mirror. Before the world demands, before the emails, before the roles you play consume you, there is you, just you. And how you meet yourself in that stillness will echo into every part of your day. Waking up early isn't about proving anything to others. It's not a badge of honor or an aesthetic ritual. It is, in its rawest form, an act of self-respect, of love, of belief. You rise because something inside you knows the value of this moment, a window of truth before the noise. On some mornings, that mirror reflects strength. Other mornings, it reflects fatigue, doubt, or the residue of yesterday's failures. And yet, you show up, not because it's easy, but because you are choosing not to abandon yourself. J.K. Rowling was broke, depressed, and raising a child on her own. She didn't have a cheering squad, but she had mornings. And in those quiet mornings, she wrote. Not pages and pages, just enough. Because it wasn't about finishing a book. It was about not giving up on the dream. It was about honoring a piece of herself the world hadn't yet seen. Consistency is rarely glamorous. It is not Instagrammable, but it is holy. It is powerful. It is where transformation takes root. Confucius once said, "It does not matter how slowly you go as long as you do not stop." That is the spirit of morning discipline. 1 inch forward, one quiet win, one whisper of belief. And remember, you don't have to be extreme, just consistent. Great change begins not with a loud bang, but with a gentle decision repeated daily. A decision to rise, to move, to begin again. Helen Keller, both blind and deaf from infancy, learned to read, write, speak, and became one of the most powerful voices for human rights in the 20th century. How? Through relentless small steps, through quiet, daily courage in the face of unimaginable limitation. That same courage lives in you. Maybe not as dramatic, maybe not as visible, but it lives there. Every time you silence the voice of delay, every time you choose progress over perfection, every time you stand in front of the mirror that is mourning and say, I'm still here, I'm still trying. Mourning isn't a performance, it's a homecoming. It's the sacred return to who you're becoming. And the best part, no one has to see it but you. But over time, they will see the result. They'll ask how you changed. They'll wonder when it happened. And you'll know it was in the quiet, in the early hours, when it was just you versus you, and you chose to rise. Own your morning. Own your life. When you own your morning, echoes into the rest of your life because your future is built before breakfast. Waking with consistency strengthens your ability to lead yourself because your future is built before breakfast. The first hour of your day influences every decision you make and rewrites your story daily. Your morning mindset rewires your thinking patterns because your future is built before breakfast. Starting your day with purpose unlocks a deeper level of clarity even on the days you feel uncertain. The way you greet the morning reminds you that success is a rhythm because repetition creates transformation. The quiet decision to show up develops the courage to face discomfort while others wait for motivation to arrive. Starting your day with purpose echoes into the rest of your life, and that is your true advantage. The way you greet the morning unlocks a deeper level of clarity while others wait for motivation to arrive. Waking with consistency echoes into the rest of your life even before the world sees results. When you own your morning, rewires your thinking patterns and gives your purpose a daily platform. The first hour of your day shapes your emotional resilience because repetition creates transformation. Choosing to rise early builds a foundation of inner power even on the days you feel uncertain. The discipline of early rising reminds you that success is a rhythm because your future is built before breakfast. Every small victory before sunrise shapes your emotional resilience even before the world sees results. The quiet decision to show up echoes into the rest of your life and gives your purpose a daily platform. Starting your day with purpose develops the courage to face discomfort through the quiet power of habit. Your morning mindset unlocks a deeper level of clarity and rewrites your story daily. Waking with consistency influences every decision you make, and that is your true advantage. The discipline of early rising develops the courage to face discomfort while others wait for motivation to arrive. The first hour of your day rewires your thinking patterns, and that is your true advantage. When you own your morning, builds a foundation of inner power and rewrites your story daily. The quiet decision to show up shapes your emotional resilience and gives your purpose a daily platform. Choosing to rise early develops the courage to face discomfort and gives your purpose a daily platform. Starting your day with purpose clears the fog of indecision and gives your purpose a daily platform. Waking with consistency shapes your emotional resilience, and that is your true advantage. Your morning mindset rewires your thinking patterns while others wait for motivation to arrive. Every small victory before sunrise unlocks a deeper level of clarity and gives your purpose a daily platform. Choosing to rise early strengthens your ability to lead yourself with no applause, only progress. When you own your morning, unlocks a deeper level of clarity through the quiet power of habit. The quiet decision to show up shapes your emotional resilience and gives your purpose a daily platform. The first hour of your day unlocks a deeper level of clarity with no applause, only progress. Starting your day with purpose reminds you that success is a rhythm and rewrites your story daily. Waking with consistency rewires your thinking patterns and builds a foundation of inner power. Choosing to rise early echoes into the rest of your life and builds a foundation of inner power. Every small victory before sunrise clears the fog of indecision and builds a foundation of inner power. The discipline of early rising builds a foundation of inner power, even on the days you feel uncertain. When you own your morning, clears the fog of indecision, and that is your true advantage. The quiet decision to show up rewires your thinking patterns because your future is built before breakfast. Every small victory before sunrise unlocks a deeper level of clarity with no applause, only progress. Waking with consistency reminds you that success is a rhythm and rewrites your story daily. The way you greet the morning builds a foundation of inner power because your future is built before breakfast. Choosing to rise early rewires your thinking patterns through the quiet power of habit. The discipline of early rising strengthens your ability to lead yourself and gives your purpose a daily platform. Your morning mindset reminds you that success is a rhythm even before the world sees results. And so I leave you with this. Your morning is not just a beginning. It is a decision, a declaration, a mirror, and a promise. Every day you wake up with the courage to rise before comfort, to move before mood, and to begin before perfect. You're not just owning a schedule. You're owning your life. You don't need grand gestures. You need one quiet choice, made again and again. Because it's in the quiet choices that legacies are born. It's in the unseen mornings that the most powerful versions of ourselves are formed. The sun doesn't ask permission to rise, and neither should you. So tomorrow, get up. Not for the world, but for you. Not for perfection, but for progress. Not because it's easy, but because you're worth it. You were made to rise, and you were made to win.